Okay. Yeah, right there, it's got that wrong camera.
You all.
So actually, I wish I'd have found it when I was in early recovery, but it's from the Life Recovery Bible, but it's the devotional, and they have 30 days for each step of a devotional for like every day, right? And it just gives a Bible story, a Bible scripture, and then a little devotional. So first, I want to go around. Over that way. I just told you what you on camera. You're okay. Okay. Anyway, so first let's go around the room. Like I said, I'm Lori. Hi, Lori.
I'm Nathan. Carl. My name is Federico.
Hi, Federico.
Rachel.
Hi,
Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Curtis.
Hey, Curtis.
Ricky.
Hey,
Eric.
Huh?
Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Adriana.
Hey, Adriana. Hey, Stacy.
Omar.
Hey, Omar.
Jack. Hey, Jack. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Ismail.
Ismail.
Alfonso.
Hey, Alfonso. Candy. Hi, Candy. Tori. Hey, Tori. Candace. Hi, Lena. Angela. Angela. And Marley. Hi, and we have some more back there. Fred.
Fred and my wife Haley.
Okay. So anyway, so here's what I'm gonna do. Hi. Okay, so this first one from step one that I want to do is called difficult losses. Does anybody have a Bible with you today to read? Okay. Curtis, you gotta read loud, okay? John 15, 1 through 8. Read the story and then I'll read the devotion.
1 through 8.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will even be more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me, and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be given you. This is my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourself to be my disciple.
Thank you, Curtis. So this is, we admitted that we were powerless over our dependencies, addiction, and that our lives have become unmanageable. Some of us have seen everything, and can everybody hear me? Yeah, I'm pretty loud, okay. Some of us have seen everything we have produced in life go up in smoke because of our addictions. If it hasn't happened to us, surely we've seen others who have lost all that they have worked for: home, career, family, health, finances, and friendships. No idea. During the times when life becomes unmanageable, we are faced with the fact that we are not self-sufficient. Sometimes our losses, or even potential losses, can act to spur us on toward taking the first step on the road to recovery. All of us have had times of weakness. None of us are self-sufficient. Jesus recognized this when he said, "Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile and burned." Some of us have already lost many of the good things our lives produced. For us, it is a matter of facing the losses, admitting that we can't make it on our own, and starting to grow again. For others of us, things may still look rewarding, but if we don't deal honestly with the effects of our addictions, we risk seeing the fruits of our lives burned up. It's hard to give up our pride and admit that on our own, we can do nothing. Perhaps by considering the possible losses in the value of our previous investments, we will be able to hit bottom before we lose everything. Apart from God, our efforts cannot bear fruit. So I was not that lucky to not hit bottom before I lose everything, you know what I mean? So like every time that I did hit a rock bottom, so I was a functioning pill addict for a long time that I thought, you know, and so I was a hairdresser and I was raising my children. And then I remember going through my second divorce. I lost my house, my car. I quit doing hair. I was like, I thought that was my rock bottom, right? But you keep going back out and my rock bottom got worse, where everything I owned was in my vehicle. And then I lost my vehicle, right? And so then I'm literally down to one bag, walking the streets. Luckily, I never had to sleep on the streets, but I always had somewhere to like crash. But anyway, so it does get worse every time, and I can relate. And yeah, rock bottoms can get worse, right? Yeah. If we keep doing, does anybody have a similar experience want to share? Just raise your hand, let me know. Okay.
I want to share it. I just had very similar things. Totally relate.
Before I came here, I mean, I've been couch popping about the age of 15, 20 years old. There has been a few times where I've had to sleep in the street, you know what I'm saying? And at first it wasn't even because of alcohol or any drug I was doing, it's just because of the lifestyle I was living. And after a while, you know, if all your money's going into something that's selfish, you know, you're gonna get something selfish in return, you know? And eventually, you know, I mean, I didn't even fully believe in God when I came to Homewood Town, you know? I just remember my mom was like, give him a chance, give him a chance. And I don't know if Melissa's in here, but Melissa, she might know my mom. My mom was, she injected, or her boyfriend injected her neck around, so her neck was on this stuff for a long time, you know? And I just saw how much it changed her. And looks up straight now, chin up, chest out. And I was like, the word for her, I wonder what it'll do for me. You know, that's my now I ain't gonna say I'm head over heels for God, but I definitely have that belief in my heart now, and I know that He's real. So, and I ain't sleeping on the street no more.
Glad you hear that. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, like when I work at Nexus, some of y'all know that. And like I see really young ladies, it's all women. So I see really young ladies come in and I'm just like, God, please let them get it while they're young. You know what I mean? So keep doing the thing, work on the recovery. We have to do it for the rest of our life. And you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to keep coming back to treatment, right? So that's, thanks. Is there anybody else for sharing?
My name's Jay. That's the third time guys put me in recovery through treatment. Third time I'm on probation also. So hopefully I get it right this time. He works in mysterious ways. Last time I was on probation, I did really good. Got that car you're talking about, apartment, and I got off probation. And then thought I had it on my own. And you know how it is. And devil took it from me again. Lost all that. Back to being homeless. Got locked up again. I'm glad I did. Took me away from the places and things that I really need to get away from. I mean, a fresh start that we all needed. All of us. I'm glad to meet you guys and show love for the whole journey.
You're alive. Glad you're here. I say that you're alive, right? You're getting that next chance, right? Awesome. Somebody raise your hand over here.
You know, I've found, throughout my life, I've reached different rock bottoms. Whenever I was younger, I didn't have a place to stay, other than a garage with no running water. And, and that was pretty bad. And that was a rock bottom for me because I was probably like 145 pounds. I mean, I was just rail thin, and then I ended up going and doing some time. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for doing some time. I got my weight back up, and I got out and I did good for a little while. And then I fell right back in the old habits, you know. I was able to keep my weight on, but I was still deteriorating up here and in here, and moving away from God. I felt the same whenever I did go do some time. I found God. I learned more about him. I was in like a faith-based dorm. That was fantastic. But going back to whenever I got out and I started using again, it was just a matter of time before things just spiraled out of control, and I was doing it worse than I ever was before. And then, you know, here comes the legal issues, and again, and I got 1 year clean. I just celebrated my 1 year clean date last Monday, and you know, I hate to say, but you know, if it wasn't for the cops intervening in my life whenever I hit a certain bottom threshold in my life, I mean, I would not have done better. It sucked that it has to come to that. Hopefully, um, no one is going through that, or no one has to go through that. They can, you know, leave homeward bound and be on the right path. You know, I mean, it's not uncommon to slip. It's actually extremely common. But if you slip once, don't let that keep you down. Um, you know, don't beat yourself up, because I know I'm definitely guilty of that. A lot of shame and guilt, and just use it as a learning experience, a stepping stone. You know, the clean time that you got now, it doesn't just disappear and go away. If you do have a lapse, you know, well, you learn something in that clean time, and add that to it. Start over and get back up, and just
Change
keep
your
moving
name.
forward. Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to share too, as my rock bottoms got worse, so did my drugs too, what I was using, right? To where I was doing stuff I never thought I would do. And anybody else want to share anything about that? No? Okay. Then I'm gonna go to step 2, okay? Romans 1:18-20. This again, we'll tap.
18-20.
1:18-20, yeah.
But God shows his anger from heaven against all sinful, wicked people who suppress the truth by their wickedness. They know the truth about God because he has made it obvious to them. For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and the sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God.
Thank you. So, step 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. To say that we came to believe in anything describes a process. Belief is the result of consideration, doubt, reasoning, and concluding. Forming beliefs show the mark of God's image in our lives. It involves emotion and logic. It leads to action. What's the process that leads to solid belief, which leads us to change our lives? We start with our own experience. We see what doesn't work. Looking at the condition of our lives, we realize that there isn't enough power in ourselves to restore us to sanity. That's for sure. We try with all our might, but with no avail. When we're quiet enough to listen, we hear that little voice inside us saying, there is a God and he's extremely powerful. The Apostle Paul said it this way: they know the truth about God because he has made it obvious to them. After looking at our internal weakness, we then need to look outside ourselves. We need to see that there are others who have struggled with addictions and recovered. We can see that they too were unable to heal themselves, yet they are able to live free of the addictive behavior. We conclude that there must be a greater power that helped them. Since we can see the similarities between their struggle and our own, we come to believe that there must be a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity also. This is where many people are when they get to step 2, and it's a good place to be on the way to recovery. God has put knowledge about himself inside of each of us, but sometimes we can see him best in others. I know that was the case for me. Like, I remember going to treatment, I was a homeward bound frequent flyer, and especially just do a detox.
You say
Frequent flyer. And so, just, I would get a detox. And then I would always get out and go to NA and, and that's like, it's like whatever is for you, right? So I liked NA and but I don't know, when I really came to Overcomers, it was different for me, right? And a lot of people do both. Like, that was what was recommended to me, to do both. But I remember when I wasn't fully surrendering, I was just going through motions. I remember Carl can tell you, times that I showed up here, nodding out. You know what I mean? Because I was just going through the motions, coming to appease my parents or whoever, my teenage children, and I just wasn't fully surrendering. But when I finally was facing, I had been to jail for like misdemeanors here and there. So when I was finally facing my first felonies and sitting in Ellis County Jail, I remember I was like, that's when I fully understood what surrender was. And I'll just kind of share this part with you too. So my husband, the one that was up here with me, the bald guy, he's my husband, and we had known each other in our addictions, okay? And we weren't married yet. He was a meth addict, I was a heroin addict, and it was volatile, right? And so we had split up actually. And I was in jail, and then I guess he had come to church one day because he had a scare. And so my mom came to visit me, and she told me, she was like, Pierce came to church. And I was like, what? And I called him. Well, he had a scare. He was on parole, right? And he was with some crazy girl. That's what he says. He was with some crazy girl, and she called the police, and he was sitting in the back of a cop car. He had fought to get his plumbing license in his bag and all this stuff, and he was like, God, if you get me out of this, I swear I'll leave him for the rest of my life. And sure enough, a few minutes later, they came and took the handcuffs off of him. And so whenever I called him, because I was like, you went to church? He must be clean. And so he told me that's free. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm done too. Whenever I get out of here, 2 years, whatever, he was like, well, you want me to get you out? And I said, sure, okay. I ended up doing, so, even though we get clean, we still have to do the things. So I had to do 2 years probation and all the things, but I did anyway, go back to school. I know we're counselors, so like we can do it, right? We can do it. And then Heather and we got clean together. Yay, it's a blessing.
Thank you.
So you're welcome.
It's inspiring.
That's why I'm sharing it.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. And he's off parole and all the things. He has his plumbing license still, and all his plumbing license. Yeah, we're blessed. Okay. Anybody having to share anything on,
Chris, I'm an addict.
Hey, Chris.
Alright, I'll share my experience with, we're talking about the second step, right? Yeah, so it's cool how, all the steps fall in line with each other. And every step is just as important as the one after and before. You can't skip a step. And when I learned about the cycle of addiction,
I learned, how important it was to, come to believe that I was insane. And that I had this cycle, I call it cycle of insanity. Because I just kept doing the same thing over and over, going from spree after spree, and then coming to this remorseful resolution and just not knowing what to do. And I tried everything on my own. My self-will is like also learning about my self-will was another thing I learned. Because I'm so selfish, like I didn't know that, like I didn't think that God could really, had control. I always thought I had control. But I realized that I tried everything that I could try. And the only thing that I didn't try was just to let go of everything and just let God try to take control of everything. But I had to be willing to take suggestions from somebody, which I didn't want to do, because everything somebody was going to tell me to do was something I didn't want to do. But doing that, I learned a lot about myself, and yeah, just step 2 fell right in line with step 3, and had to become willing to surrender and give it my all. And as soon as I stopped taking suggestions, and as soon as I stopped listening to somebody else and took over everything on my own, and thought I could live on my own, and thought I could do everything on my own, I had it right back.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, I'd like to share again. This is my wife here. We got clean together. I had a lapse last year about this time, hence the reason I just got my year. She did not. She put up with it. She wasn't happy about it, but she persevered. She pushed through. She went up on her 2 year. And I'm so proud of her for that. And I beat myself up a lot, for that lapse. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But coming to a place like this really helped me out a lot, and I hope that everybody finds a place like this or something, a group that works for you. If this isn't it, I mean, it's different for different people. I just suggest and recommend that people, continue to get involved and, find a support group, surround yourself with new people. That's what it takes, that they're like-minded, that are gonna hold you accountable, and like accountability partners, because that's gonna really help. I just started doing the step work. I haven't moved past step 1 yet, but whenever I put all this stuff on paper, like my reservations, that's a big one, because my reservations were like, for example, if I beat this case, well, I want to celebrate. I no longer got a UA, because I go to Homeward Bound 3 times a month and do my UAs, believe it or not. So like one of the reservations is like, if I beat the case, then I can use, if I don't beat the case, well, then I'm going to use. Or if I get locked up, well, then I'm going to use. And whether it's true or not, it's a thought that comes in your mind. You put it out on paper, and that's the way that I do it. That's a reservation. So going through and doing step work, that's just a small part of step 1, but it really opened my eyes, and it really helps to get it on paper. And if you can get somebody to work the steps with you, sponsor, or just someone to do it with you that isn't your sponsor, even just someone that's on the same step as you. I think that's very beneficial. It's definitely helped me. I'm about to go to step 2. I do have a sponsor, so he's been through it quite a bit. So I'm in a good position to to not fail this time around. And, but I know like no matter how far down the road you are, the ditch is still the same distance from that road. You know, you go right off of the ditch, be right back where you were, no matter how far down you are. And, it's real easy to fall right back into it, but if you fall, just get right back up and, just persevere. If you're here, you know, you're in the right place. Everybody's here to get help and to work on it, and, I'm just glad to see everybody.
Congratulations to you, Stu. January. Yay. You know, but, yeah. That's awesome.
All right, does anybody else want to share anything? If not, I'll go to the next one. Okay. So the next one I chose was, give us to Felipe. Psalm 61. 1 through 8.
Oh God, listen to my cry, hear my prayer. From the ends of the earth, I cry to you for help. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the tower rock of safety. For you are my safe refuge, a fortress where my enemies cannot reach me. Let me live forever in your sanctuary, safe beneath the shelter of your wings. For you have heard my vows, O God, you have given me an inheritance reserved for those who fear your name. Add many years to the life of the king. May his years span the generations. May he reign under God's protection forever. May your unfailing love and faithfulness watch over him. Then I will sing praises to your name forever as I fulfill your vows each day.
Thank you. So this one's giving up control. We made a decision to turn our wills in our lives over to the care of God. The thought of turning our will and our lives over can be attractive. When we give into our addictions, aren't we giving control of ourselves over to another power? Aren't we in some way giving up personal responsibility for our lives? When we are overwhelmed or wanting to escape, our addictions can make us feel strong or safe, attractive, powerful, or happy. So in a sense, we are very comfortable with the thought of giving up control over our will and our lives. We can simply change our focus and turn our lives over to God instead of the sources we have turned into the past. The Apostle Paul touched on this contrast when he said, "Don't be drunk with wine, because that will ruin your life. Instead, be filled with the Holy Spirit." Ephesians 5:18. When we are overwhelmed and in need of some kind of escape, we have a new place to turn. King David declared, "The Lord is a shelter for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you, for you, O Lord, do not abandon those who search for you." Psalm 9:9-12. David also wrote, "From the ends of the earth, I cry to you for help when my heart is overwhelmed. Lead me to the towering rock of safety, for you are my safe refuge, a fortress where my enemies cannot reach me." Psalm 61, 2-3. God never changes. He is always present with us. Anybody have anything? Cheryl?
I want to share what is in the NA book here that that spoke to me. So we, especially going through, the emotions that everybody's going through, that we all go through. And it's very common, and that's why it's in this book. And it's a good book. Got good stuff in there that I can relate to a lot. It's not, I wish it was mine, because y'all highlighted and it'd be easier for me to find the stuff, but here it is. We may fear that we won't be happy with what our life will be like after working through the steps. When we trust that there's growth in taking action despite our fears or uncertainties, we are able to work step 3. Even though we don't know how our lives will change as we work these steps, we can learn to trust our higher power will care for us better than we could. The third step is our commitment to our own emotions, physical and spiritual well-being. And for me, that's like, let's just say like this. This isn't my first rodeo and trying to get clean. I've had a couple years before, and of course, it's real easy to go back to our old ways, especially whenever that's all we knew since adolescent age, you know? It's everywhere. It's where we feel the most comfortable, and it's about getting out of your comfort zone. That's the key right there. I've been, I've took jail a few times, and I still kept messing up, you know? But at the end of the day, I just was tired of being sick and tired, and I was just so glad to be free, you know? And so with that, I kind of took some advice with some literature, and it said to seek out somewhere where you can be of service. There's a book by Rick Warren, and I read it when I was incarcerated, it's a 40-day devotional. And it basically kind of gave me a guide on find my purpose. Like, why am I here? What, you know, obviously I can't do this drug thing, right? Because I keep getting in trouble. You know, so, just wasn't working for me. And so I did what it said. It said, seek out a church. This wasn't the first church I went to. This was actually the third. And I didn't come to the Overcomer. I didn't even know Overcomers existed. I had actually came on a Sunday and was going to court the next day. So I'd asked if there was any prayer request. And I was like, yeah, I want to, you know, pray for favor and for the judge to have favor, you know, on me and kind of like let me make it. So I was paranoid about going to court. And after class was over, Lori she pulled me to the side. She's like, hey, my name's Lori. You know, we got this group on Monday night. You should come. And I just kind of like got teary-eyed there and came, and I just kept coming back. And then like a year later, he come with me. So yeah, awesome stuff happened.
Thank you for sharing. Love that.
I got a question.
Hi, Ricky.
What I want to find out is, how many of y'all this is your first time trying to get clean? First time. No, just first time. No, first time ever trying to get.
Professionally, yes.
Yes, yes. Because the reason I ask that is because now, how many, those that who didn't raise your hand, how many of y'all have tried to work the steps? Would they never work?
I mean, like on my own, doesn't work.
It doesn't work on your own?
No. Okay.
I know.
So I got an answer for that. Now, for those of you who said this is your first time trying to get clean professionally, you know, because see, I know all of us have, at one time or another said, I'm gonna quit. And that lasted about that long, you know, because how many times did I say, after this one, I'm gonna quit? You know, I have one story that I always love to tell, you know, it'll have you laughing. I was in the Navy. We had been out to sea for 45 days. After 30 days, I run out of alcohol and everything else that I had, all my paraphernalia and stuff. And when we hit port, I went and sat at the bar at 2:00 in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night drinking Coke. From 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I tried to catch up for what I missed from 2 to 10. That's just catch up from 2 to 10, not what I was trying to drink from 10 to 2, and didn't stop from that point on. So, you know, and then when it finally got to that rock bottom, that real, because see, if you forget about that rock bottom, you ain't hit bottom yet.
Right.
You know, so when that mind says, oh, I can do one, think about that, what made you decide to come and get recovery. Think about what it took to get here, because she's been sharing the beginning of the process of recovery, you know, where we start looking at and surrendering. Because see, when we wave the flag, it doesn't mean that we wave the flag and then when they come to help us, we start shooting. You know, when you surrender, you're supposed to lay your weapon down and then they take over. Now, you might not like the way they treat you, you know, because see, in war, if you talk to those who was in those camps, you know, when during World War I and World War II, they was not treated nicely, you know, and the biggest war that you done been in has been with yourself.
Right.
So, you know, I cleaned up May 26, 1987, and hadn't had to get another desire chip because I went back and drank or went back and did anything else. It can be done.
Right.
But there is a determination and there is a work in progress that you have to do on a daily basis. And when it gets real bad, you got to hang on. It's just like being on the cliff, hanging on to the branch, and you holler, is anybody up there? And they say, let go. You say, anybody else up there? You know, because we got to get to that point where we got to let go and we got to trust. Yes, sir.
Anybody else, desires baptism tonight? Because I give it up. Okay.
So now, for those of y'all that done tried the steps, there's a word in step 1 that you got to learn and use. It's the first word in step 1. What's that? Huh? Anybody else agree with it? Disagree with it? Do y'all agree or disagree with it?
Agree.
Y'all agree? Okay. We, great word. Because I will keep me out there.
Yeah.
We can help me stay clean.
Right.
Remember that. I will keep me out there. We, yeah. Because see, if I need somebody to lean on,
Yeah.
I got somebody to lean on.
Amen.
Cry to, I got somebody to cry to. That's what these steps show us. Step 1, we got to surrender. Step 2, we got to find out that we do not have the power and how crazy it was for us to think we can do it on our own.
Right.
Step 3 is to start focusing on the God of your understanding. And all 3 of those are just making mental decisions. After that, it's serious work got to go down. Because when you get to step 4, you got to put some stuff down on paper. Don't be scared what you put down there. Because most times when you put all that stuff down on paper, the only person gonna see it is you. Unless you leave it out and let somebody else read it. You know, you be at home and you're married and you let your husband, your wife, your kids, or somebody else read it. But if you was like me, it's guarded at all times. From the time it was put on paper to the time it was shared, it was guarded. And then after it was shared, it was still guarded. Until we put some fire to it. You know, because I couldn't keep hold on to that. I had to get rid of it. So, you know, but this process that y'all trying to go through is not an easy process. Because if it was easy, everybody could do it.
Right.
Right.
You wouldn't need to come to overcome. Huh? The first time. Yeah. Yeah. So prepare yourselves for the fight that you finna do. Because see, my mind says, I can do one more. But the program says, one too many.
Well said.
Huh? That I ain't even go for the 1,000. I'm just gonna really focus on that one too many. Huh?
Off the rip.
And if y'all ever see me, when I really do be sharing, I'm 250. I got either 2 cups of coffee or a coffee, water, and a soda, all of that. So I have not stopped drinking. I just done chose what I'm gonna drink.
Right.
You know, I'm still just as crazy. 30-something years later, I'm still just as crazy as I was then. But it's in a different way.
Right.
You know, and it's with a different mindset. So the process and the journey that you just put yourself on is you have to stay on. You know, if you jump in your car and you leave from here and you're trying to go to North Dallas and you go out here and you start headed south on 67, guess what? You ain't gonna make it to North Dallas. So pick the route, get on track, and stay there. Don't get off. That's it. That's all I wanted. I just had to throw that in there.
Is there anybody else because I'm pretty much done. If anybody else just wants to share anything, please do it. Go ahead.
You know, there's 2 people in this room. I ain't gonna say their names because I mean, if there's one thing I hate, it's always being embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? But they're actually great people. And they're